Look, the governor, the secretary of state, they've committed felonies. We want to hold them accountable. Ryan, appreciate you being here with us today. How are you?
I'm good, sir. It is a beautiful day here in West Michigan. It is getting chilly, as you mentioned.
Yeah,
Something
that's
that
okay.
we
We'll
something we roll with in September in Michigan.
All right. We'll deal with it. Hey, but let me ask you, the one thing we don't tolerate too well is some of this overreach we've been seeing here in the last year or so. And some of the things that you make even a contrast between governors is how the governors throughout the 50 states have handled this pandemic. Well, one being our governor here, Governor Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan, the other being Governor Kristi Noem, who is in is she in South Dakota? Is that where she is?
She's in South Dakota. Yeah, she's like the polar opposite of Gretchen Whitmer.
And didn't shut anything down. From what I understand, she walks through the Capitol building there, stopping at each legislature's office, and she prays for each one individually. I think they also had a budget surplus last year. Very interesting. There are two totally different states, and of course, but they do have some similarities. Their leadership certainly looks different. So, what is the issue that you guys are looking at right now? What are the felonies you believe the governor's committed?
Right. So to start that off, for anybody that doesn't know, my name is Ryan Kelly. I'm the founding father of the American Patriot Council. We've been around for several months now, putting things together. We've done rallies around the state a few different times, Lansing, Grand Rapids, some other places. And we've been looking at the constitutional overreach for several months, really understanding what was put in place and how that violates the Constitution. If we look at the Constitution of the United States of America, it is the supreme law of the land. Article 6, Section 2 of the Constitution makes it very clear that everything that happens must be in pursuance of the Constitution, or it's notwithstanding. That being taken into consideration, if we look at some of the executive orders that Gretchen Whitmer has put out, limiting the size of groups, limiting the amount that we're able to assemble, restricting that down to 0. That's a really big deal. And it's super simple here, guys. When you say that people cannot gather in any groups of sizes, if you look at the First Amendment, you cannot abridge the right of people to peacefully assemble. That's an inalienable right. That is such an important word that we understand what inalienable means. You cannot surrender it. You cannot take it away. It can't be transferred. You do not overstep those inalienable rights. Those were not given to us by man. Those were given to us by God, by our Creator. We're endowed with our Creator to have life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. You talked about the gyms. When you shut down somebody's gym, you're taking away their right to pursue happiness. That's a really big deal. We have all these lawsuits that have been filed all across the state, different people wanting to get into court, be heard. When we look at things through a different lens, taking federal United States code into consideration, 18 U.S.C. 241 is a conspiracy to deprive people of rights, and it's a felony charge. When two or more deprive people of their inalienable rights, it's a felony. And Gretchen Whitmer has committed a felony under 18 U.S.C. 241. Jocelyn Benson signed that same executive order, EO 7069 as well. And Dana Nessel wrote a letter to law enforcement on May 4th saying that this needs to be upheld. This is valid and enforceable. When we look at violating the Constitution, it is no longer valid and enforceable. It is null and void. It is to the contrary. So while everybody is running around with these lawsuits, which is good, which is helpful, you're going through the process of a civilized society that we have here in the United States. However, these are criminal felonies that this governor has committed. You talked about Kristi Noem. You know what her response was when she was asked why she didn't shut the state down? I don't have the authority to do that. It is unconstitutional. That is real American leadership. So when we look at it through this different lens, I and one other individual, Jason Howland, have met with the Department of Justice and the FBI at the FBI headquarters in Detroit, Michigan, and we shared all this with them. And we started to put pressure on them that we wanted Gretchen Whitmer to be arrested along with her Gretchen Whitmer and company, the other folks, We've put together on our website a very clear, simple, easy to understand layout of exactly everything that has happened here. And we're encouraging people to look at things through a different lens, because right now, America needs patriots. It needs we the people to step up and make sure that our government is held accountable, because these things cannot happen in America. And if we let these small things happen now, the overreach will continue many years into the future till it disappears. Patriots stand now and say, we're saving America. We're not going to stand for this.
Ryan, I don't disagree with you. I think the governor has gone too far in a lot of different ways. But let me ask you, what do you realistically think the odds are of her getting arrested for some of these things?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you brought that up. If we just leave it to the powers at be, to the Department of Justice to go out and do it, probably very slim. About the same amount it was for Hillary Clinton to be elected. But you know what happened there? Everybody just waited for somebody to do something. Trump's going to do something. Oh, the DOJ is going to do something. Right now, the American Patriot Council is asking that we, the people, put pressure on this. Mm-hmm. It's up to us. When we say, when are they going to do something? I'm here to tell you today that you, whoever is watching and listening, or whoever you can share this with, you are they. You are the one that has to do something. You need to make that phone call to law enforcement, to the Department of Justice, to the FBI. Put a tremendous amount of pressure on our system and say, look, this is clear as day what's happened. We, the people, want justice, and we want our constitutional republic to return to the United States of America. I think if that starts to happen, Justin, the chances of this raises substantially, but it's up to us.
Ryan Kelly, the American Patriot Council, and of course, Ryan, if people want to get involved in this, what's the best route for them? Is there a website they can go check out? Is there some call to action? You said American people getting involved. What does that look like?
If you go to the website, AmericanPatriotCouncil.org, you're going to find a lot of information on there. If you go under the cases tab, that's the breakdown of all of these things we're talking about here today. October 24th, there's a little topic change here. On October 24th of this year, 10 days before the election, we are putting together a nationwide freedom march. And what happened here last weekend in Allendale, there was a small group of us that got together, a couple hundred people, and we did a march down Lake Michigan Drive, just waving the American flags, being patriotic. We have lots of these events happening across the country on October 24th this year. So if you go to our Facebook page, you'll find those event pages there. We have them lined up right now in Austin, Texas, Myrtle Beach, a couple places in California, here in Michigan. And we're going to have this all across the country in many different cities. Patriots standing united 10 days before the election. So that's one thing that we can do to be involved on top of looking at these cases. And if you go to that cases section, they're switching back to the website now. We have the FBI and the DOJ, Michigan State Police, tip links on there. We have different letters on there that you can look at, the communication with the Department of Justice. And we just ask that you stay engaged and continue to help us put pressure on these people. And let's not give up this fight, because these really are crimes. This will set a huge precedent in the United States when we get this done, that this is not how our elected leaders are going to act. We don't deal with tyrants in the United States of America, and that's exactly why our forefathers and our founding fathers did what they had done and started the United States of America with our Constitution in place, and it's up to us. We are they. If you take anything from this interview, we are they. It is up to us.
It's, of course, the American Patriot Council, we see a movement in so many different ways. There are many different organizations. Ryan, let me just ask you, Ryan Kelly, as we talk a little bit about this, we've seen pop up through this, and now, again, parents getting involved with politics in a year they probably never thought they would, but parents getting involved to ask that the governor, please let our kids play high school sports. She said, okay, but they've got to be at risk now by strapping a mask to their face while they're out running around. Please let us open the gyms. Okay, but everybody has to wear masks. And so people who have never gotten involved in politics are doing it. What are you doing to bring some of these people together in different groups? I know it's a lot of the same people who really just want the same thing, but what are the groups doing to work together, Ryan?
There's a lot of communication between some of the groups here nationwide here in Michigan. We still do lack some centralized communication because people are doing their own things and taking different paths. But we need to become more united now more than ever. When you're talking about all this mask wearing in the public schools, I'm going to just make a quick reference back to the science and data that you mentioned, Justin. You said, where's the science and data, right? She has been asked for that science and data many times and has not provided it to us. If you go to michigan.gov and you look at their corona website, how they have it broke down, we've seen that deaths have been falling off substantially, almost to a minimum in Michigan since mid-April. So we flattened the curve, if you will, and it's been falling off ever since. And the mask order didn't come out until 3 months after the curve was flattened. So I have yet to be presented with science and data that validates why we should be acting the way that we're acting. But to swing back to your question there, with all of this taken into consideration, we need to find ways for these groups to unite more and become more solidified in our patriotic movement. And that's not an easy task, but by more communication and people reaching out and connecting and doing stuff like this is very helpful.
More people are uniting than ever before, even though it seems like we're divided in a lot of ways. Parents just want kids to be able to have the opportunity to experience the things that they were able to experience, go out and play some sports. They just want their kids to be able to go out and have a chance at having a better life, even than that's the American dream. That's the opportunity. But at every step, it seems like these days we got to fight to make that happen. So thanks for the reminder, Ryan Kelly, American Patriot Council. We appreciate you being here. And of course, we put links up for that website as well, AmericanPatriotRally.com, if you want to find out more. Keep us posted. Let us know how everything goes.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the time. God bless America.
Absolutely. You too. We're taking a quick break. Coming up at 9:35, we'll speak with the sheriff of Kent County. Sheriff Michelle LaJoy Young will be here, and she'll be talking about everything that's been happening behind the scenes. There's been an increase in violence, not just throughout the country, but here at home, too, in West Michigan. Why is that? One group of folks are getting together to make sure that they stop the violence. We'll check in with her and talk about that, plus what it's like behind the helm here as we move into our Court Magazine CEO Spotlight. Coming up, News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM. It's West Michigan Live. You miss any bit, and go back and check us out. The iHeartRadio app. Just search West Michigan Live online.